Hello guys, it's me Simo Urahara, and in this video I will present you 5 fights from the final arc that are considered the best for Japanese fans. And so guys, one of the things that I wanted to see while reading the final arc was to see the polls for that arc. I wanted to see the feedback of the Japanese fans, for example to see their favorite Sternreiter as well as the fight they liked. Unfortunately, we don't have any Quincy characters poll, but fortunately we have some polls related to the final arc that were published in the 13 Blades book, and they are about the Shinigami characters. And among these polls there is a poll of the fights that won the admiration of Japanese fans, and this poll included more than 80 fights, and most of the fights that took the first places were related to the fights of characters beloved by Japanese like Rukia, Byakuya and Toshiro, as well as the fights of the anime. For example, the first place went to Renji in Byakuya's fight. And within this huge amount of fights related to the Soul Society arc and the Urahara arc, there were also some fights related to the final arc, and I have chosen for you 5 of them. And before we go to the ranking guys, I would like to point out that this poll doesn't include the battle that took place after the battle of Urahara and Ichibi. Therefore, the fights of Lilibaro against Kyorako or Asking Naklova against Urahara Kisuke don't exist in this poll. So the 5th place may seem strange to you, maybe weird, because it's about Giselle's fight against Yumichika in Ikako. I'm not sure of this information, but I have previously read somewhere that Giselle is a popular Quincy character for Japanese fans. In addition, Yumichika is also one of the favorite characters of many Japanese fans. All of these factors contributed to this fight being the 24 in the global ranking and in the 5th place as for the final arc's battles. But if we wanted to talk about this fight, it was not originally a fight, it was just a small skirmish in which Yumichika revealed the truth about Giselle and that he is a man and not a girl. And after that, Mayuri entered in the scene and another round of battles had started between Mayuri and Giselle. So if you notice guys, among the Quincy characters, Kubo gave Giselle more space than many. At the beginning, we had the idea that Bambita would get Kubo's focus, but with Bambita's defeat, Kubo turned the scales and Giselle became one of the main characters for several chapters. And Kubo confirmed recently that he is a man, and by the way, he's still alive. He was rescued by Hajval's follower. And the 4th place, we have the fight of Bambita and Komamura Sajin. Frankly, this fight brought several surprises, including the fact that Komamura has a human transformation technique that gave him tremendous strength. However, the end of the fight wasn't good for both. The end of Komamura in that way, as well as the end of Bambita, who turned from the leader of the Quincy girls to a mere zombie in the hands of Giselle. And I will be making a special video about Bambita soon. And the 3rd place and the 17th place in the global rank is the fight between Zaraki and Giri. One of the most major fights in the final arc. It is enough that the 2 sides of that fight are Zaraki, one of the strongest Shinigami characters who entered the fight after he trained with Yachiro Onohana and all the seals on his strength were removed. And more than that, he became able to communicate with his Zanpakuto and got to know its name. While the other side of the fight is Girimi, a young boy with a cute appearance and tremendous strength. The power of imagination that made him create 2 Sternreiter out of nowhere, and the fear of many of the Sternreiter of angering him or approaching him, they are all ingredients that made Kobo dedicate several chapters for this fight that carried many powerful scenes. One of them when Gurimi dropped a meteor from the sky, and the release of Zaraki's Shikai for the first time, who made that meteor into pieces just by one hit. And as you can notice, Zaraki is one of the favorite characters of all the fans across the world. I mean, if there were aliens from Mars watching Bleach, they will definitely like Zaraki's character. And we move to the 2nd place and the 6th in the global rank. Finally, some logic, because this place belongs to Zaraki's fight against Yachiro Onohana. I still remember that Zaraki's fight against Yachiro got a very good rank in Shonen Jump. Bleach was always at the bottom of Shonen Jump ranking during the publishing of the final arc. But when this fight was published in Shonen Jump, Bleach reached again the top 5, and this was a strong indication that this fight was one of the biggest surprises not only in the final arc but in the manga as a whole, knowing that this sweet woman is the first Kinpachi and one of the founders of the first squad of the Gochi. It was a shocking surprise for everyone. That's why it's no wonder that this fight got the second rank. And we move to the first place, which is related to the fight of Rukia against Ace Note. Of course, the fact that this fight got the first place is due primarily to the fact that Rukia is a part of this fight. Rukia is very popular. Suffice it to know that Rukia swept the Shinigami voting poll as she came first, and her Zanpakuto also got the first place as the best Zanpakuto. So naturally her fight against Ace Note will be the first in the final arc, as well as the third place in the global rank. And I have to mention that I have previously read a statistic of Shonen Jump about each manga and the gender of readers who read it. In Bleach, the percentage of female was 50.7. I mean, the percentage is not large, but there is a slight tendency for the percentage of females. So it's not strange to see Rukia, Toshiro or Gin get always first places. And I'm not saying that these characters or their fights are not good or all, but there are much better characters and fights. For example, it suffices that the Battle of Yuabach and Ichibi ranked 38, and the Battle of Yuabach against Yamaji ranked 29, while most of the Japanese fans' favorite final arcs fight are related to Toshiro. Toshiro versus Kangdo, Toshiro versus Bazube, and Toshiro versus Mayu. And I think this is one of the reasons why Kubo gave a lot of fights to Toshiro, because he's so popular. And we mustn't forget that the editors have a role in such things. It's true that the role of the editor is not very influential when it comes to a famous mangaka like Kubo, but they also have some advice based on what attracts the Japanese readers. And whoever read Bakuman or watched its anime will know a lot of information regarding this important topic. On the other hand, Bleach, despite its floundering in the last decade in terms of popularity, but Bleach still has a great popularity in Japan, big enough to make the anime come back. It is true that also Bleach popularity outside Japan was one of the reasons of this magical comeback, but in my personal opinion, the main factor in the success of any mangaka depends on the fans in Japan first of all, because the success of any work must be based on a solid base of Japanese fans, and then the work spread all over the world. But as I said, Bleach is still popular with Japanese fans. I mean, I recently followed one of the Japanese YouTubers who create content about Bleach, and I have seen this amazing feedback on the topic he creates for Bleach. Something crazy for a manga that officially ended in 2016. Now we are in the front of a new stage, turning the final arc into an anime. I'm so excited to see what the reception of the final arc will be like in the anime version. So guys, tell me your opinion, what do you think about this ranking, and see you guys in my next video.